You know, I usually stay out of these conversations, but with Caitlin Clark, I can't stay silent anymore.
What would happen if one of the greatest basketball players ever saw the WNBA's most talented young athlete being singled out through questionable methods? The basketball world has been totally appalled by Michael Jordan's shocking comments on Alyssa Thomas's acts against Caitlin Clark. You will therefore discover the truth. But first, let me ask you a question. Have you ever seen a professional athlete subjected to the kind of discrimination that Caitlin Clark has experienced during her career? What he witnessed during that Phoenix Mercury game has fundamentally altered Michael Jordan's view of the WNBA. Alyssa Thomas is devastated by this aspect of Michael Jordan's perspective. Caitlin Clark is exactly where Michael Jordan is at this moment. Michael Jordan was the finest player in a league consisting of incredible athletes in the 1980s, and because they couldn't match his extraordinary basketball IQ, they tried to physically intimidate him. Michael Jordan, however, emphasized this crucial point. The reputation of Alyssa Thomas gets interesting at this point. Michael Jordan understands the difference between what he has seen with Clark and what he has seen in both championship-level competitive basketball and a mob situation. It's the most cowardly behavior I've seen on a basketball floor in decades, he said. You heard properly, yes.
When you watch this playback, you can see even before that, Alyssa Thomas knees Caitlin Clark in the groin, then puts her fist into Clark's neck, and then nearly stomps on Clark while stepping over her. The ball is already gone by the time any of that happens, and despite a ref being right there, they didn't call anything. Not long after.
When Michael Jordan viewed the footage of Alyssa Thomas pushing Clark from behind as she was trying to deal with getting stabbed in the eye, he reacted quickly and angrily. The only person in basketball history who genuinely understood what pure competitive fire looked like was this man, who battled well-known enforcers like Dennis Rodman and Bill Lemire. Even yet, he could see that Alyssa Thomas's behavior was unethical in terms of sportsmanship and competitive integrity. Here's what Michael Jordan had to say about the shove's timing, though. His understanding is currently devastating Alyssa Thomas. Before we continue, if you haven't already, please like and subscribe to the channel. Now, let's return to the narrative. The basketball player raised an issue that many fans had been thinking about, but nobody with his level of notoriety had the guts to do so. Taking cheap swings at someone while they are completely exposed and not looking is not the same as playing championship-level defense. Michael Jordan emphasized that his era was thought to be the most physically taxing in NBA history. When you disagreed with someone, you didn't wait for their back to turn before acting like a predator. Instead, you faced them like a warrior. And that's exactly what Michael Jordan didn't like about Alyssa Thomas's disgraceful actions. But right now, Michael Jordan's remarks have completely destroyed Alyssa Thomas's reputation. Alyssa Thomas's pathetic reaction after the incident particularly infuriated the basketball icon. Instead of acknowledging that she might have gone too far or expressing regret, Alyssa Thomas falsely claimed that fans and the media were unfairly criticizing her.
I'm sick of watching Caitlin getting attacked. If the league doesn't step up and protect her, things are going to get ugly real fast.
Damned if I do. Damned if I don't, she said. But after hearing such comments, Michael Jordan grew even more furious. Michael Jordan asserts that the game's victors and legends, truly great competitors, always take full responsibility for their actions, especially when those actions could put another player in grave risk. He said he was reminded of athletes who knew deep down they couldn't compete at the highest level when he saw Alyssa Thomas play the victim and avoid criticism. As a result, they found more questionable ways to affect the game. In other words, because Alyssa Thomas has the real basketball skills to match greater promise, Michael Jordan was able to portray her as a substandard player who employs unethical tactics. At this time, Michael Jordan's insight truly shines and draws attention to Caitlin Clark's great qualities. Michael Jordan sees in Clark the same unique qualities that made him one of the all-time great basketball players. Her exceptional basketball IQ, her mysterious clutch shooting abilities, and most importantly, her divine vision to improve everyone in her vicinity. But as a person who respects basketball ethics, he also observes something that really concerns him. This incredibly talented young athlete must constantly be on the watch for cheap shots and dirty tricks rather than focusing only on reaching her boundless basketball potential. Michael Jordan claims that Alyssa Thomas's approach exemplifies all that is wrong with certain players' choice to play Clark instead of pushing themselves to match her exceptional skill level or outwork her on the court with dedication and preparation. It is concerning that she is physically assaulted when she is at her weakest. According to Michael Jordan, this type of behavior is the worst basketball competition he has ever seen. But as a result, the basketball community was talking about Michael Jordan's contentious comments. Michael Jordan compared Clark's predicament to his own experiences with physical intimidation while playing professionally. But he didn't think twice about highlighting anything that uplifts Clark and adequately places her situation in context. He pointed out that Clark, who is only 22 years old, is going through far more adversity than most athletes experience over the course of their careers, all the while carrying the weight of becoming the unchallenged face of women's basketball. But Michael Jordan's remark on Alyssa Thomas's future in the NBA, which is currently making the rounds on social media, is absurd. Michael Jordan claims that if the WNBA allows girls like Alyssa Thomas to chase superstars without facing repercussions, it sends a message that mediocre players can use unethical tactics to remain relevant instead of improving their genuine basketball talents. He claims that this creates a dangerous precedent that can deter players who are lifting the bar for the league. Michael Jordan even went so far as to claim that the league's failure to adequately punish these actions deceives young players who watch at home. He believes that instead of teaching kids how to pick bad opponents, watching the WNBA should teach them about skill, commitment, and sportsmanship. But perhaps the most significant part of Michael Jordan's entire statement was his prediction regarding Clark's future despite these challenges. He asserted that Clark was molded by adversity and that every cheap shot, shady move, and attempt to scare her only made her more determined to prove her superiority by skill alone. Michael Jordan compared Clark's situation to his own rookie year when opponents constantly tested his physical endurance. He pointed out that the distinction is that Clark is coping with this conduct in addition to the unheard-of media attention and demands that come with being the most marketable player in WNBA history. For this reason, Michael Jordan's backing of Clark is essential. He is defending more than just a gifted athlete. He is protecting basketball's fundamental purity. According to him, Caitlin Elizabeth Clark embodies all the qualities that make basketball special, such as talent, vision, class, and competitiveness. Additionally, he sees everything that may be detrimental to the sport in competitors like Alyssa Thomas. The seasoned basketball player made it clear that the WNBA is at a pivotal moment. There are two options available to them. Either they keep allowing weaker players to use dishonest strategies to remain relevant, or they protect and spotlight their best players, enabling people like Clark to reach their full potential and improve the league as a whole. Michael Jordan's message was clear-cut. The league's future will depend on the choice selected. But this is the question that everyone is discussing. Will the WNBA follow Michael Jordan's advice to protect Caitlin Clark, or will they continue to allow players like Alyssa Thomas to employ questionable methods to harm the league's standing? Let's continue the conversation in the space provided for comments below. What are your thoughts on Michael Jordan's harsh criticism of Alyssa Thomas's behavior? Do you think he's being too critical, or do you think his objections are totally legitimate? More importantly, do you believe the WNBA will eventually move to protect its biggest star? Kindly provide your thoughts in the space provided for comments below. I read every single one of them. If you want to see more analysis like this that breaks through the clutter and explains what's truly happening in basketball, be sure to click the subscribe button and enable the notification bell. Michael Jordan's contentious comments may potentially affect Caitlin Clark's status in the WNBA. The basketball community is monitoring this issue. One thing gets harder to overlook as the story progresses. Discussions are no longer restricted to a single game, a single harsh foul, or a single contentious incident. It has to do with women's basketball's future, the standards the league hopes to maintain, and how its top players are handled when they are in the public eye. Before joining the WNBA, Caitlin Clark had to deal with expectations that few athletes have ever had to deal with. Millions of fans watch every game she plays. Every move she makes is examined from every perspective. Every accomplishment is honored. Every setback also attracts media attention. That's what it means to be among the most well-known figures in modern basketball. In the meantime, veterans from all throughout the league are still competing at the top level, bringing pride, perseverance, and years of experience to every game. The WNBA wants to make sure that intense competitiveness never turns into needless or risky play. Fans demand intensity. They seek rivalries. They want respect, equity, and stability in addition to real basketball. Michael Jordan is a person who knows what it's like to perform under pressure. Thus, his remarks have generated intense discussion. Michael Jordan faced some of the most formidable opponents and aggressive defenders basketball has ever seen during his incredible career. However, his message went beyond just being tough. It was about upholding the game's integrity and ensuring that basketball skill, rather than controversy, remains the major focus. There is little doubting that Michael Jordan's remarks have sparked debate, regardless of whether you entirely concur with his viewpoint or think the circumstances have been overstated. What should happen when the league's best players become the center of physical play is still up for dispute among fans, experts, former players, and media figures. Do authorities need to be more stringent? Is this just a typical aspect of being a professional basketball player, or should the league impose heavier penalties? Everybody seems to respond in a different way. Caitlin Clark's response is unquestionable. She has persisted in concentrating on basketball rather than allowing controversy, physical defense, or criticism to define her career. She continues to compete, show up, and demonstrate why so many people think she is the sport's future. Her perseverance is one of the primary reasons her followers continue to support her. The WNBA is receiving unprecedented attention. Discussions on social media are growing every day. The arenas are full. New viewers are discovering women's basketball for the first time, and television numbers are rising. These kinds of situations affect not just a single player or team, but also the league's perception around the world. As the season goes on, each game will become much more vital. Every game Caitlin Clark participates in will be closely watched. Every controversial play will be analyzed. Every official ruling will be contested. Every game will also add to the narrative of one of the most talked about seasons in WNBA history. The most crucial question is now yours. Do you believe that Michael Jordan's comments truly reflect the league's present situation? Do you believe the WNBA is protecting its players sufficiently while permitting aggressive, competitive basketball? What future effects do you believe this whole situation will have on Caitlin Clark, Alyssa Thomas, and the league? I'm truly curious about the opinions of basketball enthusiasts worldwide. Please feel free to express your opinions in the space provided for comments below. Your point of view may be featured in a future movie, and civil discourse is what makes our community so amazing. Don't forget to enable notifications, hit the subscribe button, and never miss another upload. We would welcome your support if you enjoy this discussion and would like more in-depth basketball analysis, exclusive updates, and the biggest stories regarding Caitlin Clark, NBA legends, and the WNBA. We appreciate you watching, and remember that we write the history of basketball every night. This page will tell you about the next chapter, which might be even more important than this one. Please use the comment area to express your opinions. To ensure you don't miss anything, subscribe and turn on all notifications. Once you click the video on the screen, we'll see you in the next one.